Hey guys, Rybaack here, Tank Officer for the Short Rest Riders, and welcome back to the next video. This is going to be another tanking guide, except it is not on the Blood DK this time. This time, it will be on the Brewmaster Monk, my main alt. As the Death Knight is my main alt is my Monk. So, I'm going to go over basically the same things as I done on the Blood DK, except now what I forgot to do on the Blood DK videos, I'm going to start giving certain things ratings depending on what things are like. I'm going to go on gameplay / fun, sustain / performance, mobility. I'll just rate it like that. So before I start on the Brewmaster Monk, I wanted to give that same thing for the Blood DK first, because I forgot to. For the Blood DK, the gameplay out of 5, I'd have to give it about a 4. I can't quite give it a 5 because, well, it's not perfect when it comes to being the most enjoyable tank. Sustain / performance, I can give that an absolute 5 all day. But for mobility, I'd have to give it maybe a 2. Because they're the slowest tank in the game. The Death Knight will have the lowest mobility rating that I give it. Now to go to the Monk. Sorry about that. I'm going to start off with the basics, then go over the talents, then go over the stat priority, then maybe Trinkets / Legendaries, and then end it off with the rotation. So the basics are pretty much the same across all 6 tanks. Make sure you have the highest amount of threat, so that you're the one getting hit in the face. Don't get hit in the back, because you lose all of your gear value when you get hit in the back, so don't do it. Then yeah, it's pretty much get hit in the face, not the back, and make sure you actually have enough threat to even do the tanking, since DPS and healers can't exactly do your job. So remember that. That's pretty much the basics. Now I'm going to get straight into the talents. So it's pretty much the same way as it works for the Death Knight. We have 15, 30, 45, 60, and yeah, you get it. 2 talents actually work here, one for one way, one for the other. The third one is just a no-go. Cheap Burst does work if you're going for just pretty much damage. It does provide a little bit of healing. However, if you're looking for survivability, it's not the winner, because even though it does do a bit of healing, that healing does not heal you. It's basically the Hadouken, pretty much. It will hurt enemies and heal your allies. And what's the point of healing your allies when you're the one taking the damage? That's the healer's job. The only class that can really pull off healing, like at all, is maybe the Protection Paladin. That's pretty much the only tank that can even handle doing off healing. The Brewmaster Monk is not that healer. Not that tank, I mean. So if you're looking for just damage, maybe AoE, some AoE damage, this could work. But if you're looking for survivability, Eye of the Tiger is your winner. Because if you read it here, Tiger Bomb also applies Eye of the Tiger. That's the buff. It deals nature damage to the enemy, and about 100k healing to you over 8 seconds. This happens with every Tiger Palm. It resets. And because of the way the most common rotation works, you're never going to lose this buff, because of the fact that it's literally called the 3 Tiger Palm rotation. Which means you're obviously going to be putting 3 Tiger Palms in a rotation. The rotation takes about 6 to 8 seconds, which means you should have 100% uptime on this if you do the right rotation, if you do it properly. So this would be best for the turtle build. Chi Burst could work for the damage build. Chi Wave is just a no-go. You are not a Mistweaver Monk. It is entirely pointless to use it. It is just not worth it. You lose out on self-healing through your Tiger Bomb rotation. And really you lose out on damage by not taking Chi Burst too. So Chi Wave is the loser. Eye of the Tiger is the turtle build winner. Chi Burst is the damage build winner. On the level 30 line, it's pretty much Chi Torpedo, Tiger's Lust, and Celerity. Well, I should say these are Tiger's Lust or Chi Torpedo, because Celerity, you get a shorter cooldown on your roll and a 3rd charge. But if you're looking for mobility, this is not the winner at all. Because if you're looking for personal movement, Sheet Torpedo's better because it torpedoes you forward a pretty good distance, and it gives you 30% movement speed for 10 seconds per stack, up to 2 stacks. That's 60% for 10 seconds when you use it. That is way better for personal movement. However, Tiger's Lust could be good, is also good for personal movement. However, most brewmasters, from what I've seen, and even I would myself, would give that to my friend. Let me just make sure I can use it on myself real quick. Yes, I can, but that doesn't matter to me. So for personal movement, it works, but most brewmasters would use it to give it to their friend. So if you're looking for group movement, Tiger's Lust is your winner. If you're looking for, come on, why is it still on cooldown? Is it really still cooldown? Yeah, come on. Anyways, if you're looking for personal movement, Sheet Torpedo does win because of the way you can take advantage of using the Sheet Torpedo in general. Wrong one. Hey, get out of here. There we go. Anyways, so really it's Sheet Torpedo or Tiger's Lust. On the 45 line, all three of the talents have actually been used. However, only 2 of them are viable. Light Brewing is the loser here, unless you're just starting off and you don't want to feel like pressing buttons, because this reduces the cooldown of your brews by 3 seconds and increases the maximum charge amount. So instead of 3, you'll have 4, giving you faster charges. This is pretty much if you're just starting off and you don't know how to use your brews really, and you're just start using them poorly. And like if you're sitting there trying to learn it and you're using them very poorly just because you don't know how to use it, this can work because of the extra charge and the faster cooldown. But the faster you get out of this and start using one of the other 2, the better. Because it's better to have Black Ox Brew or Gift of the Mists. If you're looking for the turtle build, Gift of the Mist is usually the winning choice, because that gives it a much higher chance of triggering the orbs. You're gonna get a lot more orbs out of the Gift of the Mists, and with more orbs comes more healing. It's just pretty strong. However, if you feel like you're slightly scrambling for brews, even in the turtle build, Black Ox Brew is an option. I always run it because I tend to have a little bit of trouble with the brews sometimes. However, if I can learn to control them properly without needing this cooldown, then I'll be swapping it over to Gift of the Mists. These 2 are really your go-tos. Light Brewing if you're a beginner, but as soon as you become an intermediate to an advanced tank, this is just no. Ring of Peace, Black Ox Statue, Leg Sweep. This line, it's a bit of a debate depending on mythic pluses, raids. Things can change. Ring of Peace, it makes that ring that pretty much makes people bounce away. This is strong for Mythic Plus, especially for weeks like Sanguine, Necrotic, stuff like that. Whether you have to get out of the way to clear the stacks, or you just have to get an enemy out of the pool, this is strong. This is one of, if not your major go-to choice for Mythic Plus, depending on the week. Black Ox Statue can have its uses. I was using it earlier in the week and was messing it up very, very much. I was using it in so many bad ways that I just made it look so terrible. I will admit. Do not use this in the wrong positions. Don't use it in the Horseman's room in Karazhan. If you don't know what you're doing, it will pull the boss. It will pull everything else with him. So don't use this incorrectly. This is a bit prone to that risk. But if you can use it correctly and pull a reasonable amount, then this is really strong for Skittish. This can also be strong for Sanguine, especially if the enemies are just sitting in the Sanguine for no reason. Like if you die or something, you never know. This is good for like Skittish and just maintaining threat if you feel the trouble, or if you just feel like pulling up more than you should, just to troll your friends because it's funny. There you go. Leg Sweep is just basic, 45-second cooldown, AoE stun, nothing fancy about that. It is useful though when you need an extra stun. Just know that it's nothing too overwhelmingly awesome. My go-to would be Ring of Peace or the statue, depending on the situation. This line is a little bit critical, not really. We got Healing Elixir, Mystic Vitality, or Dampen Harm. Healing Elixir can work because when you drink the elixir or it triggers for you, you heal for 15% of your maximum health. But if you drop below 35% and a charge is available, it will do it for you. The only reason why I don't like this talent is because the auto trigger aspect is bugged. It's been bugged for months now. It's been bugged since I think even Nighthold. I don't know. It was definitely bugged during Jupiter's Sargeras, and it's still bugged during Endurance to Burning Throne. So I don't like this talent because the auto trigger part doesn't work sometimes, and I don't want to have to rely on an auto proc type thing. That's one reason why I don't really like the Demon Hunter too much. But maybe if it gets fixed, or I just learn to control that, I don't know. Mystic Vitality is strong in magic fights. Felhounds of Sargeras, Coven of Shivara. Those are just a couple of examples. If it's a magic heavy fight, Mystic Vitality is a really strong choice, because your stagger, because if let's say you didn't have Mystic Vitality, if you just sat there and you were just doing your stuff normally, your Ice Cream Brew doesn't really work with magic damage too much, unless you're running like Mystic Vitality. Although if you're also looking for an extra cooldown, Dampen Harm does work. Because it's a 20 to 50% mitigation for 10 seconds. It's a range depending on how hard the hit is during that time. If it's like a foe breaker on Agrimar, it's going to be 50%. If it's like a Murloc's melee attack, it's going to be it's going to be 20. But literally every possible number in between is a factor. 34.5, 27.3. It's awkward. It could be kind of awkward sometimes with the exact number. We can never exactly know how much that attack does, unless it's a major mechanic thing like Foe Breaker. That we know is going to be up to 50%. We either like the only numbers we really know are either the minimum or the maximum. Nothing in between. We don't know for sure. There's so much mathematics that go into Brewmaster Monk. It's crazy. However, the reason why I'm able to spec into both is because of the class ring, the Soul of the Grandmaster. It's not really a best in slot, but it is strong. It's stronger now than it used to be during like Tomb of Sargeras, because Tomb had so much physical damage that Mystic Vitality was just absolutely useless. You pretty much needed Dampen Harm. But now during Endurance, where there's actually more magic fights, Mystic Vitality is actually an option. So that's how I'm able to run those both at the same time. Going to 90 now. Rushing Jadewind, New Zao, Special Delivery. Do not run Special Delivery. It is a little bit of damage and a little bit of extra movement speed, but it is just entirely unnecessary, as you don't need that utility at all. There's like no use for it, especially when you compare it to the New Zao utility, which is pretty much an off tank in Mythic Plus and possibly Raids. Like if your cooperative tank's not ready to taunt, maybe New Zao can taunt and take the stacks, maybe. Or if he needs to hold trash for you to get away, he's better to do that than a slow. So if you're looking for survivability / escape utility, New Zao is your winner. If you're looking for damage, Rushing Jadewind is your winner, especially if you put it into the 3 Tiger Palm rotation, in which the 3 Tiger Palm rotation is pretty much your winner. You'll see why later on. On the level 100 line, there's only 2 options: Blackout Combo for damage, High Tolerance for survivability. On the Turtle build, there's a few talents that most will say you absolutely have to have. High Tolerance you have to have for the Turtle build on this line. There is no exception. You need Dampen Harm, at least with or whether it's with or without the Grandmaster ring. That's also not really so much of an exception. Gift in the Mists you need, but there is the exception of Black Ox Brew. So you could still run the turtle build with Black Ox Brew. It's just Gift in the Mists is more commonly seen and probably better, especially if you know how to control your brews better. Blackout combo is good for the damage, especially since you're going to be running the rotation. You're going to be running the 3 Tiger Palm rotation, and because of the Tiger Palm rotation, you're always going to be using the Tiger Palm part of it. Damage is increased by 200%, which makes your Tiger Palms in your 3 Tiger Palm rotation quite strong. Way stronger. You're doing a lot more damage that way. So if you're looking for the damage build, this is your winner. So if you're looking for a pure damage build, you'd probably be running Chi Burst, Rushing Jade Wind, Blackout Combo. Is there anything else? That's about it. But if you're running turtle build like I am, you're running High Tolerance, Gift in the Mist, or Black Ox Brew, Eye of the Tiger, and that's what each of these looks like. So I'm gonna go ahead and pretty much say those are the talents, those are how they work, those are the builds they work for. And now let's move to another spot and go through the stat priority. Welcome back, and now we're gonna look over the stat priority. Stat priority is actually quite important on the monk. Some of the numbers, really the haste number is actually quite specific. It's really picky of the way it works. But really when it comes to stat priority, you want to start, it's pretty much critical strike equals mastery. Actually no, that's not even the top part. The top part is actually item level, which is odd enough. Brewmasters actually need item level because, I forgot to mention this as part of the basics of the Brewmaster Monk, the way that their agility works gives them dodge. The more agility they have, the more dodge they have. And the best way to get agility is through getting item level, which is also why I'm so close to 950 when the only other tank that's even close to that is actually my Death Knight, who's at 955. My Monk's actually closest to him, and not surprisingly so, because you need item level for the agility, especially if you're gonna stay alive, even with the damage build. Even if running the damage build, you need high agility to get the dodge. Because if you can dodge, you might not need defensives. So that's why the item levels matter so much. Once you get that decent item level, then stat priority starts to matter, which is then crit equals mastery. They both have equal value. You can either be heavily into crit or heavily into mastery, as long as the other is in second place. Either crit should be first and mastery is second, or mastery is first and crit is second. Versatility should not be above either of them, and haste should absolutely be in last place at all times, if possible. Versatility is kind of hard to come by in Legion, so you don't have to worry if you don't have a lot of versatility. But your haste numbers will matter. There's only 2 particular numbers that you really should have as a Brewmaster Monk. You should either have the range of 8 to 11%, or you should have the number of 14.3. You can run around the range of 8 to 14.3. I'm running at 13 at the moment. I would stack that a little bit more, but the haste gear I have would bring it up to 16 or even higher than that, and you don't want anything higher than 15. Otherwise, it can mess with your rotation possibly, which is also why Sephuz is not the best legendary out there for Brewmaster. So it's pretty much crit equals mastery, with the other one taking second place, third place going to versatility, and the last place going to haste. So that's really the stat priority for the Brewmaster Monk. Just remember, item level first. You want as much agility as you possibly can. I almost transitioned to a awkward part of the tutorial, I'm sorry. But anyways, I just wanted to finish out with the stat priority. Now let's look at trinkets. When it comes to trinkets, anything that has a tanky damage has a chance to whatever is bad, because you're the dodge tank. You're not like a warrior or a paladin or a blood DK who's generally always going to get hit. The monk actually dodges attacks way more than even a blood DK would parry. So whenever you dodge an attack, if you have a trinket that has a tanky damage has a chance to, which this one is not, and this one is not, those trinkets are really bad because anytime you dodge, the chance of it to proc is 0%. If you get hit by the attack, the chance is not 0%. Only when you dodge or the attack misses is when you have absolutely no chance of that proc hitting. So anything that has to take in damage chance is bad. Even things that have healing or even dealing damage has a chance to is better. Because the enemy's not really going to dodge your attacks, and you can't dodge your own heal. Why would you do that, right? However, two really strong trinkets, I'll give an example, as I only really have a couple of examples. The Astral Alchemist Stone is strong because it gives versatility. Versatility is a stat that you actually want. You want more of that than you want haste. When you heal or deal damage, two things that will happen very commonly. You have a chance to increase your primary stat by over 10,000. That's almost 10% dodge right there when it procs. And because it happens to effects that you're actually going to go through a lot, it actually has a very high chance of happening. And when it happens, it's quite strong. Also, if you don't have a warlock, the second effect is strong too. Increases the effect that healing and mana potions have on the wearer by 40%. So if you're sitting there, you have to have potions because you don't have like a warlock or anything. This effect is also strong too. There was a theory that people thought that it would affect the brews too. However, I believe it does not affect the brews. Because that would just be way too overpowered, and every Brewmaster Monk would run it if it did. However, this trinket right here, the reason why I'm running at 900 of this is because that's all there is. And even though the item level's lower, it is still the absolute best trinket in the entire game. There is nothing that beats this defensively. It gives agility, which is more dodge, and it gives us a range of amount of armor, which the amount of armor it gives swaps around constantly, but you're still getting a minimum of 970 armor. That's almost 1,000 armor for 100% of the fight. There's nothing you have to press. There's nothing you have to proc. It's just there forever. Like if I went and go pull a dummy right now, it would trigger and then it would leave when the fight ends. This is the strongest in the game defensively. Although another option you could run, my bag's just so unorganized, is the Pantheon Trinket. This also gives dodge because of the agility. But the thing that's so bad about it, look, taking damage has a chance to. That's where it's actually pretty bad. It gives versatility, and then when you get the empowered by the Pantheon proc, it's basically a full heal. That part's fine. But the problem is that it's a taking damage has a chance to effect. You don't want those. Those are really bad because of your dodge mechanisms that you go through. So really, my recommendation for trinkets is the Astral Alchemist Stone and the Dark Moon deck. Those are my personal recommendations for right now. But that's going to be that for the trinkets. Now let's look at Legendaries. And here are the Legendaries. I'll start from the top, go through every single one of these, except for maybe this one, because like fucking nobody has it. But anyways, starting from the top, Fundamental Observation, the Brewmaster Monk helmet. It has the best stats, Critical Strike and Mastery. Zen Meditation has a 50% reduced cooldown, and is no longer cancelled when you move or when you are hit by melee attacks, which is strong, because Zen Meditation has a 5-minute cooldown. It's a 60% mitigation, but as soon as a melee attack hits you, it cancels out. It also cancels out if you decide to use a different button. Like if you decide to put on a brew, it will cancel it too. So you've really got to be careful with that. But with this helmet, This is strong because because you can move around, you can cast things, and it has the best stats. It also turns from a 5-minute cooldown into a 2-minute 30-second cooldown, which is also nice. It almost matches up with Dampen Harm, which is another strong cooldown, if you spec into it or if you have the Soul to Grandmaster Legendary. Pride it has crit, haste, and mastery. It has a lot of it's almost a stat stick. It has a socket, but this one's not as strong as it reads. On paper, you would think that a 15% of your maximum health for 30 seconds every 30 seconds would be strong, but it's not. Because if you're tanking a big raid boss, they're gonna do a few million damage to you. It's gonna protect you for maybe 2 hits, and you can't even buff that as a Brewmaster Monk like you can a Blood DK. Because on a Blood DK, you can actually manipulate this legendary to change how strong it is, making it stronger because of Vampiric Blood and Morrowind with your Bone Shield. But you can't really do that on the Brewmaster Monk, so depending on the tank, some tanks use this better than others. Brewmaster is not very strong with this legendary, so if you do have it, it's a bit of a feels bad. I do not recommend this. However, if you're looking to do Mythic Plus on the Brewmaster Monk, this next choice is your go-to. Storm Stout's Last Gasp. Haste versatility. Keg Smash gains 1 additional charge, so you have 2 Keg Smashes now, and deals 25% increased damage. For those of you who know how to play Guardian Druids, this is basically Thrash. This is your Thrash, pretty much. Even though you actually have a rotation on the Brewmaster Monk, Keg Smash is basically Thrash. It's an AoE thing that gets an extra charge, it deals extra damage, it's good for AoE damage, it's good for AoE threat, just like Thrash. And this thing is like both the Thrash legendary and the Keg Smash legendary are both very strong for Mythic Plus and DPS tanking legendaries for both of these classes. But I'll get to the Guardian Druid one in another day. I don't know if it'll be the 3rd or 4th tank I do, because I plan to do all 6. I just gotta get good at them all first. So this is your go-to for Mythic Plus / DPS. The Lost Tunic is the other DPS best in slot. Haste Mastery, when you use Keg Smash, the remaining cooldown of Breath of Fire is reset. That is quite strong, because the way that you would use Breath of Fire, especially in an AoE situation, every single time you use Breath of Fire, every target that you hit with it, you get a stack of Elusive Brawler. That's your mastery. And it stacks up depending on your mastery, which I'm going to try to go for a mastery build. It's about 31 or 32% dodge chance on every stack. So literally every 4th stack is a guaranteed dodge. So if I'm sitting there in a big AoE situation and I use 1 Breath of Fire, I'm dodging at least the next attack. It's crazy. And it's also really strong for DPS because that's Keg Smash resets it, which means you can keep using it defensively and offensively. But you'd use it more for offensive purposes, because especially since the Anvil Heart and wrist straps are stronger for defensive. Each time you dodge or an enemy misses, the remaining cooldown in your bruiser is reduced by 1 second. This is strong defensively, even though the stats are aight. You get some haste, but you get more mastery, so the mastery aspect is better, which is good. You want your brews to come back faster, especially if you're running like the turtle build or you just need a quick purify. See, the turtle build actually, you would use your Iron Skin brew a lot. You would try to keep that up as much as you can. You should be doing that anyway, but the turtle build really, really eggs you on about it, because that's your active mitigation. A Blood DK's Bone Shield, a Paladin's Shield of the Righteous, a Bear Druid's Iron Fur is a Brewmaster Monk's Iron Skin brew. Your active mitigation you should have up at pretty much all times. This wrist strap helps you with that. It helps you with your active mitigation, and if done right, this may even let you actually start using Purifying Brew in the turtle build, possibly. So that's where it'd be good. Synodaria the Symbiote. Best stats, critical strike mastery. Your attacks cause an additional 30% to enemies who are above 90% health and heal you for 100% of the damage done. This is really strong if you're a risk of dying on pull, or if you're looking to do starting damage. A lot of classes have a really strong starting burst. Rogues, demon hunters, a lot of classes. Arcane mages actually do. I figured that out the other day. If you look, it's basically the opposite of an execute. Instead of the strong finish, it gives you the hot start, if you know what I mean. So this is strong for starting a fight with a DPS build. Okay, Plin's Soothing Sash. Purifying Brew instantly heals you for 25% of the purified stagger damage. Versatility Mastery. Stats are okay. Effect is not that great. It can be used defensively, but it's not the best. It's not even one that I can consider a part of any sort of anything. But it's still not the worst legendary out there. If you want to know what the worst legendary is out there, I think it's this one. Critical Strike and Haste. The Fire and Stone Walkers. Each enemy you hit with Breath of Fire reduces the cooldown of Fortifying Brew by 2 seconds up to a maximum of 6. It's restricted because you can't use this on 6 targets. You can only use it on 3. The fact that it's restricted is what makes it really bad. And your Purifying Brew, even though it's a 7-minute cooldown and you can reduce it, it's still not good at all. Especially when dodging actually can help you reduce your stuff. So really, this is the absolute worthless legendary of the class. Safus is better than it. It's that bad. So I'm just going to skip right over it. Crafted legendary. Best stats, 3 gem slots. When you kill an enemy, you gain movement speed for a minute, stacking up to 5 times. 25% is the max. You can then turn into a wisp. This is okay for mobility, but as a Brewmaster Monk, this is actually not good. Because even though it gives you some extra mobility, you already have enough as a monk. So as a Brewmaster Monk, it's actually really bad. Looking at it, it's a multi-class legendary. For Vengeance Demon Hunters, this would suck too. It would also suck for the Brewmaster Monk. Rogues, I think, are okay, I guess. I don't know about Rogues. It's a DPS class. I don't give a shit. Bear Druids could use it though, because Bear Druids are actually a bit slow. So really the only decent tank that can use this is the Guardian Druid. Especially since they're slow. Safus, it gives a shit ton, it gives a lot of crit, a lot of haste. It's basically a super haste ring. You don't want it. Especially if you get your haste correctly. This could fuck with your rotation. Don't let this fuck with your rotation. Jewel of the Lost Abbey is your absolute best defensive legendary out there. It has your best stats, crit and mastery, a shit ton of it too. Gives a gem slot. Increases the duration of stagger by 3 seconds, which is absolutely busted. Because if you can get your stagger to start, if you can keep your stagger going constantly to where it's constantly turning damage into a dot, that's a lot of mitigation right there. That is a shit ton of mitigation. And this makes it undoubtedly your absolute best defensive legendary out there. Soul the Grandmaster, it's your class ring, has stats similar to Brideas, except they're not all matching. There's also Socket. For Brewmaster gives Mystic Vitality. It's strong if you want both Dampen Harm and that at the same time. But if you only want one, this is strong for magic fights, whereas Dampen Harm would be used otherwise. It really depends on the fight. Insignia of the Grand Army, it makes your Netherlight Crucible talent stronger. This can actually have value, especially if you start getting like your Hot Bloodeds and Face Palms. I didn't talk about the artifact stuff because that's just easy to get everything now. However, in terms of traits, you want Face Palm for damage and Hot Blooded for defense. That's pretty much what you want. Anything else is really bad. Really bad. This would make your Face Palms and Hot Blooded relics, if you have them, stronger. So this could actually get value. However, if you're looking for damage, there's other options. And defensively, there's also better options. The Archimontator Reborn, Versatility Mastery. This gives a lot of agility, which could also give dodge. It gives you an Absorb Shield for 30% of your maximal health, which is better than Pride has. Even though it is based on the cooldown. However, it also does damage at the end too. It does 75% of what was absorbed. So it can be used in both offensive and defensive. Defensively, it's better than Pride has. Offensively, it could be better than Kill Jaden's Burning Wish, maybe. I haven't tested it. Amador's Vision, like nobody has it. I cannot review this hardly. Although it is basically an Arcano Crystal. Looking at it, actually no, I can review this because it's the only legendary that you can actually equip it as a third choice. So it's a super Arcano Crystal that makes your spells and abilities have a chance to grant you speed, avoidance, and leech. Every single one of those being quite strong. And if you get the Pantheon effect, it gives you even more dodge. So because of the fact that this is the only legendary that will allow that's allowed to be the third, I can actually review it and say this could actually be quite strong. If you're looking for extra stats, although the Dark Moon deck is still very, very strong, if I ever get the Amador's Vision on my Monk, I'll compare the two and see what wins. So for defensive, you want the Jewel, the Wraps, or Archimond. For damage, you want the Last Gasp and the Lost Tunic, and also maybe possibly the Archimond as well. So those are the legendaries. And now the last part of this little guide that I'm about to do is the rotation. Okay, so about the rotation. There's a couple rotations that are known out there. However, the only one that I really know about and that I really should show, the one that people know the most, is called the 3 Tiger Palm rotation. This basically means you fit in 3 Tiger Palms throughout the rotation of your abilities. I'm running Rushing Jade Wind, as I mentioned before, as a little bit of damage. I could have went with the Black Ox, but it's very, very difficult to demonstrate when you're fighting dummies that basically don't fight back. So I'm going to show you it with Jade Wind. The 3 Tiger Palm rotation is part of why you want Eye of the Tiger if you're looking to be a survivalist too, because you're getting the Eye of the Tiger buff reset on every Tiger Palm, which means you're getting it reset 3 times per rotation. So the 3 Tiger Palm rotation basically goes like this. You would start the fight by putting on your Iron Skin for your mitigation so you don't die instantly. Then you'd use a Keg Smash. Then you'd use a Blackout Strike. Then your first Tiger Balm. And then Breath of Fire. Then you'd go back to Blackout Strike. Second Tiger Palm. Jade Wind. Blackout Strike. The third Tiger Palm. Keg Smash. So I'm going to show you this a little bit slower. It's going to look awkward because I'm actually going to do this a little bit slower just to show you guys. So I'm going to put on my Iron Skin just because I feel like it. Keg Smash. And then Blackout Strike. Then Tiger Palm. Then Breath of Fire. Then I go back to Blackout Strike. Tiger Palm. Jade Wind. And then I go back to Blackout Strike. Tiger Palm. And Keg Smash. Also, don't forget to press your Iron Skin Brew mid-rotation too, because you can use that without messing with the rotation. So that's pretty much the rotation right there. That's the 3 Tiger Palm rotation. With the 2 Tiger Palm rotation, instead of delaying your Keg Smashes, you'd be delaying your Tiger Palms. But that would be a little bit of a challenge to do with Rushing Jade Wind, especially if you don't have the Legendary like I do. With the Legendary, it's actually not that hard. But I'm going to wait for my brews to come back, use them, and then I'm going to do the rotation once more, but at normal pace. So I'm going to go ahead and use my brews, and then do the rotation in real time. Cake Smash, Blackout, Tiger, Breath, Blackout, Tiger, Jade Wind, Blackout, Tiger, Cake Smash, Blackout, Tiger Palm, Jade Wind, Blackout, Tiger Palm, Cake Smash, Tiger Palm, bullshit, cock waffle, dick nugget, blackout, whiteout, bleach. Did I just say all that? I had to put a little bit of humor, I'm sorry. I really had to. But with that little simple rotation, you can maintain both DPS and a bit of survivability. On that pull, you see I just did 600k and I didn't even try. So it's pretty good for damage, but you want to make sure that you have your brews to Iron Skin, keep up the active mitigation, and if you feel the absolute need to purify for some reason, like you're prone for risk, you can use the Blackout brew and then purify. But purify is only really for absolute emergencies when you're running the turtle build. If you're running the damage build, you can purify a bit more. You can use it a bit more openly. But it just really depends on the build. It changes out what brews you use. Your rotation doesn't really change much unless you're using Jade Wind or not. It all depends. So that is the end of my Brewmaster Monk tutorial / guide / thing. I hope you enjoyed this one too. The Blood TK one was fun to watch, and before I go out, I just want to thank you guys. Because I started doing videos on my personal channel back in 2013. That is not this channel. That is a personal channel. And the Blood TK video got more views and more likes and more support in the comments and actually more feedback too. And I was able to engage more in that video than any video I've made in the last 5 years. So I really want to thank you guys for that. I really do appreciate that. It really boosted the self-esteem to where I was able to make this video confidently. And I'm gonna plan on making all 6 tank videos, except I might have special guests on the Paladin and Demon Hunter ones, just because I might need some extra support and studying with those ones. Because I need to be able to at least be okay at the classes before I'm ready to put these guides out. So the Blood TK one's out. The Brewmaster Monk one should be out when you see it. The next one I'm planning is possibly either the Protection Warrior or the Guardian Druid. Matter of fact, I'll let you guys vote on that. I'm going to put a poll somewhere probably. Vote on either Protection Warrior or Guardian Druid. Because I feel ready for both. Even though the Druid's not quite geared yet, I already know how to play it because it's actually quite easy. It's the easier tank. So I'm gonna let you guys decide. Do you want the Protection Warrior or do you want the Guardian Druid? I'll put that poll somewhere. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning into the Short Bus Discord. Not Discord. YouTube once more. Don't know why I said Discord. Thank you for tuning into the Short Bus YouTube once more and checking out this guide. And I'll see you guys in the next tank guide. And I'll give you a surprise on a different, and I'll give you information on a different project I had in mind at the next guide. So thank you so much for watching. Have a good one.